My name is Avery Finch, and I am currently a graduate student at the University of Dallas, working towards the earning of my Master of Arts in Education. This past semester, I was working in Christ the King Catholic School as a student teacher. Christ the King Catholic School is located in a suburb of Dallas, Texas. Most families that attend Christ the King are upper-class families. The school population consists of almost all Caucasian, with the occasional Asian or Filipino. There are no ESL students or special needs students at Christ the King. The school is connected with Christ the King Catholic Parish, literally, and that plays a role in a community life and a faith formation of all the students. The parishioners are supportive of the school, and the school is very involved with the parish. There is an average of 25 students per classroom, and there are 2 sections to each grade level. In my specific second grade classroom, we have 26 students. Of these students, 14 are boys and 12 are girls. The age range is 7 to 8 years old, and 25 of these students are Caucasian and 1 is Filipino. We have organized a desk in several ways throughout the semester, trying to see what arrangement would be best for group interactions, but also the desks resemble a trapezoid shape, so the connection options are limited. The majority of the specific class is on or above grade level in most subjects. I have learned throughout my time in this classroom that on-level worksheets for this class are usually too easy and therefore boring and ineffective. This class, and many lower elementary classes, needs to have a lot of hands-on activities and activities where participation is very high. If this class sits still for too long, you will lose their attention, so it is important to incorporate whole class participation as much as you can, even if it is copying notes. Thinking of these 2 characteristics, higher level thinking skills and active learning, I included both in the preparation of my lesson. For higher level thinking skills, I gave them a blank chart to fill out rather than giving them choices to pick or sentence stems. As for being active, they began the lesson by reading the story in pairs anywhere in the room, and once they returned to their desk, they took notes along with me. They were encouraged to come up with their own ideas, and they were given the opportunity to talk to their partners and then share their ideas with the whole class. The 2 main learning goals for this lesson are: students will be able to draw conclusions using details from a story, and students will be able to utilize text to support their ideas. A third learning goal includes students will be able to create and label an inferencing map. During this lesson, students will be utilizing an inferencing map and being able to draw details from a specific story that we are reading in order to draw a single conclusion. So I hope you enjoy this lesson. Have a wonderful time in second grade. You can either write in your own, or if you want to think about one, and then I'll follow people who have their hands raised, and we'll do one all together. It's up to you. Probably do more than one video on the back too. So you want to go Rebecca, where's your after that? We'll make it a little bit bigger so that you can fit. About a month fall back to color. How long it takes? Maybe. I think it just depends on who's making it. Some like it more detailed, and then some.
Except this one has been like about a month since it's only 4 years.
And his bird.
And plus I said about 4 years more or less.
Okay, right. Detail. Once you have finished your boxes, you can make your own conclusions. You don't use the one we used before. You can wait and we'll do it all together. Yes. We're just waiting for 2 more groups to finish reading. And then we're going to start doing one all together. So if you want to flip through and think all of people always there. You have an idea.
I had a beautiful thought.
As the one we did before? Sure, I would think of them, but I would say this new. I know there's quite details. I would think of also like characters. Like what do you know about Philly or Bethany? Where they don't actually say we'll figure out the details. Think of that. How much longer do you got for this? We're going to do one all together. We're just waiting for Christian and Christopher reading. I want to wait. We'll do it all together, but I would think of one, so if I call on you, you're ready to give it in. We're just waiting on Christian, and then we'll begin. If If you have begun drawing your page, make sure you put your name on
Hello. Is that on video?
Well, we just did. When there's an idea that you have about the story that the author doesn't tell you. It's something you know about the story. It's something you know about the story that the author does not say out. Remember how we just did? It takes a long time to make a novel, right? Oh, okay. We just said it takes a long time to make a novel go right. So it doesn't give the story. She doesn't say, oh, it takes a long time to make a novel go right. But in the story, rather, it gives us details. Like she spun the yarn more than 300 times. And she spun the rug for more than 50 days. So it's telling us that it takes a long time, but we don't know sentence specifically. It took them over a week to get ready to weave. So that one step, there's more than one step. Sure, it took her a few days to set up.
Why? Are they supposed to write something themselves?
They wrote what I had on the board. Started their own idea.
I think so. He's ready to go.
Class.
Yes.
Okay, so I have let you either come up with your own, or we're going to talk about some. If you need some help from somebody, but I wanted you to actively look for them. So if I called on you, you're ready to give me an answer. Did anybody come up with another conclusion that wasn't the one we talked about before we read? Come up with another conclusion that they made about the story that the author didn't tell us specifically, but that you can use details to support your conclusion. Tilly, what did you think?
That since these are new plants, so it takes longer for them to go all the way to the store and that.
Okay, so it takes longer. There's another added step, right? To add some time. Let's go back to that first idea you had when you mentioned how Geraldine ate the plants. How do you think Glenn May felt about Geraldine eating the plants? Beck?
Upset and mad.
She was probably a little upset. In the story, does it say Glenn May was furious and she wanted to kick Geraldine out of the house and she would never make a rug out of her forever again and she was so mad? Does it say that in the book? So could you draw a conclusion or come up with your own thought about the story based on those details?
My conclusion is the same.
Drummond, comments yourself. So if you have not already written one, you can write this one with me. Glenn May was angry or upset.
And
You can copy down what I'm writing, or if you already have another one, I'll ask you what your idea was.
I'm using a conclusion that
Drummond, you're about to sit next to me.
Was upset at Geraldine for eating the plants. Because she took that whole time, she went out and she picked the plants. She found the ones that she wanted to make the perfect colors she wanted. And then Geraldine, silly Geraldine, ate them. And she said those were going to be the perfect colors for her rugs. And then she had to walk all the way to the store to get dye, which changes the color or something. She had to walk all the way to the store to get dye. That was going to work. It was going to be okay, but it wasn't as good as the berries. So you think you would be upset if you worked that hard for something? And then you have to start all over with something that wasn't as good? I would be a little upset. So Glenn May was angry or upset at Geraldine for eating the plants. Remember, it doesn't say that. The author doesn't write that in the story specifically. But we know from the details. Think of some details. What are some details to support this? You can go back in the book and I want you to find a specific page that gives a detail. And I want you to tell me what you found on the page to support that. Did you find one, Jack? Geraldine is a goat, but like Geraldine being a goat, how do we know that that made Glenn May angry? What's something that tells us that Glenn May could have gotten upset about? Ryan?
That it took her over a week before she got ready to leave because Glenn May had eaten the plants.
It took her a long time to collect those plants, right? So the detail would be she worked hard to find the plants. Is there a page that says that? So on the bottom of page 258, they're going out, there's a picture of them walking out to go find the perfect plants for their dye. And at the very bottom, it says, I do love to eat plants. That's what got me into trouble. So when you get in trouble and somebody is telling you you're in trouble, you think you did something good?
No.
When you're in trouble, that usually means you didn't do something good. So eating plants got Geraldine in some trouble.
Yeah.
No, because I know some of our boxes aren't perfect sizes for cursive. Eating plants. Yes, Geraldine. So when at the bottom it says trouble, so when you hear trouble, it's not always good. One second. So you can add this along with me if you don't already have one. Yes, Jack.
I'm really not completing Geraldine. It's like since he's eating plants and goats and everything, is that detail?
Yes.
Okay.
What's another detail that we could use to support our fact, our conclusion, that Geraldine was in trouble because Glenn May was upset? It doesn't say Glenn May was upset in the story, but what else could we tell? What could we use from the story? Look in the story. I want you to find some concrete evidence. How did she get in trouble? Why was she in trouble? Charlotte?
Because she ate all the plants.
She ate all the plants. Those are specific plants. Do goats usually eat plants?
Yes.
Yes. So that is perfectly fine for a goat to eat plants. But were these plants important?
Yes.
These were important to
They're
Glenn.
probably hard to find.
They probably were. She had that long list of plants, and if Geraldine ate all of those, where are those ones on there? It says rabbit bush, wild onion, cliff rose, sumac, juniper, walnuts, dock. So all that whole list, any of those that were plants, were eaten by Geraldine. So Geraldine.
I don't think it looked like. It's. I think that's it. There's like a wax. But for a good way, it's actually a good detail.
For the special dye. So those are special plants. Goats can eat any other kind of plants. But those were the special plants that Glenn May worked hard to find and gather. But I hope you're following along. There's one more I'm looking for specifically. It happens after Geraldine eats the plants. Glenn May has to go back out. She has no plants anymore. They were eaten by Geraldine. She has to go out, find new dye. But not by plants. They're not a specialized plant dye that she already worked so hard to find. Jack, guess this?
It's the next time that she went to get the plants, Geraldine came.
Absolutely. That is wonderful, Jack. Guess this. So when she goes back out to go to the store, does she take Geraldine with her?
No.
She leaves Geraldine behind because she doesn't want her to ruin her next shopping adventure.
But how can he
So when she left for the store, it says the next day, Glenn May made me stay home while she walked miles to the store. Do you think walking miles takes a long time?
Yeah.
So there's another step that takes a long time. She said the dye she could buy wasn't the same as the kind she makes from plants, so it wasn't as special. But since I made such a pig of myself, It would have to do. I was really worried that she would still be angry with me when she got back. So did it just tell us that she was angry?
Yeah.
He was worried. It didn't say she came back and she was like, I went to the store and I bought the new dye, but it's not the same as my plans. Did she do that?
No.
But she was worried. Geraldine was worried that Glenn might do that. So we can assume that she was angry when she left, but was she angry when she returned? Nah, I think she walked it off. So Geraldine was scared. Glenn May would be angry. Awesome work. So we came up with a conclusion, something that the author did not tell us straight in the middle of the story. There was no sentence that said Glenn May was angry and upset at Geraldine for eating the plants, but we used these details from different pages to give us hints as to why we think this. So I have an idea about the story. This is why. I think this. So I use these details to back up my thinking. Did anybody else come up with some different ideas, some different conclusions, and find different details to support it? Yes, Beth?
Geraldine is a goat.
Geraldine is a goat. Besides the pictures, because it doesn't tell us in the beginning, hi, my name is Geraldine and I am a goat. That's not the first sentence. What are some details that help you know that idea? Why do you think that, Beth?
One of them is Geraldine said his friend is a human name.
Ah, he said his friend is a human. So you can look at the pictures and say, well, there is a human. So the friend is the human. Who's the only person left in the picture?
Geraldine.
Geraldine, this must be the goat. What's the other detail?
Geraldine was the one who ate the berries.
Ate the plants. Goats eat plants. That's a good detail.
And in the end, it says that Geraldine was the goat.
In the end, it says that Geraldine is the goat. So we used the details leading up to the end. It didn't, right on the front page, it didn't say, I am Geraldine and I am a goat. So we had to use the details from the story to help us figure out who the narrator was and what the narrator was. Beck, have a seat, buddy. We can ask, I can ask you your question when I know I can hear you. Drum it back. Okay, go ahead. Yes, sir.
When I went another one of
Can I see Beck and Drummond,
was
please?
a goat, I figured out that Geraldine was a goat by the picture.
By the picture? There's a goat and a human. So we figured out which one the human was, so then that only left us with the rest of Geraldine. Tilly, did you have another one?
Does that matter?
I put it in different words. I drew a timeline so I knew what to read.
You know when Mrs. Sanders has a really good idea, she tells me when I copy it.
All of
Really
the
good idea,
were the same ones.
because I want her
So you looked the sequence to see how it took what steps it took you to run?
I have another
We're going to talk about that.
I have another way to
copying
compare
as well, because that's you proving that you
Yes, Charlotte, you've been waiting quietly.
when you're in the story. Are you copying?
It says,
You
I had some,
And you like her. You know, is this her?
Geraldine said, I had some, they might say, my influence. And usually,
Yeah, usually humans don't get put into a rub. That would not be good, right? So we can assume that because she had the yarn, it had to come from somewhere, and it must have come from someone's wool. Her wool coats. Yes, right.
when Geraldine ate all the
All the
fish,
choices are
she got mad, but she actually grew them because, like, she chose the right solution.
She did. She said, you ate all of my plants. Did she give up? She said, all my plants were eaten.
No.
I'm just going to stop making my writing. I'm not going to work anymore.
She went back to the store and got that, but she was thinking that it wanted to do it again. But when she got back, she looked at that.
She thought about it and she decided it would be better, well, it would be better to be calm and forgive someone rather than be angry. Come back and say, "Ugh, you ate all my dye. I'm so mad at you. I'm never using your wool again." She came back and she said, let's keep working. Let's keep working. Let's make this rug. I already shaved you, so I've got to use your wool. Let me check. Huh?
When it says on 254,
An exact page number.
on the second paragraph, it says I might have looked a little naked.
I might have looked a little naked, and Glenn May was really nice on that page, so you see Geraldine has all of her coats on. So we have to assume that Glenn May, since we know Glenn May for sure was a human. Beck, sit. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna give you 3 details. And I want you to think of what my conclusion might be. Nathan, sit down. I'm going to give you 3 details. So I've given you the conclusion before. Now I'm going to give you 3 details. And you think what a conclusion could be after this. So one of my details, Glenn May and Geraldine spend a lot of time together making this rug. Glenn May and Geraldine go shopping together. Back up in your seat, baby. Geraldine and Glenn May work together to finish the rug all the way through. What could a conclusion be? They spend a lot of time together, they go shopping together, and they work well together. What could a conclusion be? Caroline? They do work well together. That's a good one. What's another? When you work well with somebody and you hang out with them a lot, what does that usually mean? Do you think Glenn May and Geraldine are friends?
Yes.
I think so too. It doesn't say, my name is Geraldine. I am a goat. This is Glenn May. She is my friend.
Miss Finch.
It says Glenn May. Jack, this
Miss Finch. They're a team.
They are a team. They work together. They are friends. I hang out with my friends all the time. I go shopping with my friends all the time. I work hard on projects with them, and we work well together. We don't argue. They didn't argue about if she was going to use her wool or not. She didn't run away and said, don't use my wool. This is my wool. She said, you can take my wool. I will be a part of this rug, and we will put it together. Right? So does everybody get the idea of how you can draw a conclusion, and you have to use details to back it up? I like how Jack said, I saw on this page, and then he flipped to the page, and he pointed out a specific sentence and gave me details. Right? So you guys did a really good job with this. Make sure your name is on your paper that I gave you. Annalise, I'm sad that yours is blank. Copy this one that's on the board. German, no sound effects necessary. Copy what's on the board. If you have not filled it out completely, raise your hand. Yes. It is, and by you pointing that out means it's not going to be good anymore. Yes, Wilson.
Are we gonna use the back?
Do you want to use the back?
No. Well, I can't since I wrote everything. I wrote 6.
Oh, you added a new one? The more work, the better. The more you can show us, the more detail you use, and the more you show me you have mastered this skill, the better I feel. So make sure your name is on this paper. Give me a thumbs up when your name is on the paper. Did I give you instructions?
Wait, snack time.
Good, good. Good, good. Amelia and Jackson, you two may turn in your papers, put away your journey notes, and grab nice and warm. If you're not going to show them anything. What table is sitting quietly and is ready to grab their snack? Ryan's table, you may put your journey books away, put your papers in the bin, and grab your snack, and stand reverently behind your desk for prayer. Thank you, Amelia. If you are confused about what to do, I love your table. Jack, this is Drummond. I love your table. Get stacked. Gavin, your table, you may put your books away. Jack, this is in Drummond.
Could you please come to the office?
Annalise's table, you may put your papers away. And grab snacks and stand perfectly behind your desk for prayer. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Chloe.
What? You lose your money.
What have I asked you? You should be ready to pray in 10, 9, 8, 7. Quickly. 6. Emily, I suggest you put your book up and go. 5. Ladies at the lockers. 4. Italy. You have 3 seconds, Bubby. 2. Thanks, Garrett. Are you ready?
Before this lesson began, I had planned for students to read first their story from their Journeys book, then introduce them to inferencing. At the last moment, I decided to change the plan so that the students were thinking about drawing conclusions while they were reading the story. I gave a mini lesson about what it meant to draw a conclusion, and then instructed the students to draw their own conclusions while they were partner reading. I wanted students to be active readers, and I knew they were already familiar with the story because they had read it the day before. During the lesson, when students were transitioning from reading to setting up their charts, a student approached me and asked if they could set up 2 charts and use one to draw their own conclusions and save the other to complete with the whole class. I had planned for all students to complete one chart along with me, but this one student's ambition made me rethink the one chart plan. I began to realize that the higher level students were the ones finishing their reading first, so I thought it would be appropriate, yet not a required challenge. The children who wanted to create a second chart made me realize who was and who wasn't confident in their inferencing skills. After the class completed the entire whole class chart, I allowed the students who made a second chart to share their own conclusions. I think their peers benefited from this sharing because they realized that drawing conclusions did not have to be an extremely difficult and challenging task. Even small conclusions were recognized, and we can appreciate the details given by the author. Students were able to see that some details can be interpreted differently by different students. When one person shares their ideas, another student would use the details to draw a different conclusion. This sharing and class discussion allowed me to observe the knowledge of more students and provide more data to collect for my pre-assessment regarding participation. During this lesson, I think I was successful in teaching students how to create and label an inferencing map. I allowed students to draw the maps rather than giving them a blank, already outlined map. They labeled each part of the map, and I explained what each box was for. I think I was least successful in teaching how to utilize specific moments in the text. The students initially began by creating their own inferencing maps, and when I gave them the conclusion, I asked them to provide the details. They began making up their own details, and then began to use the same details multiple times. I wanted them to be able to flip to a specific moment in the text and point to it and say, "This is the detail I found to support this conclusion." They were taking general events, and I would have liked them to get more specific. I demonstrated this for them by taking one of their textbooks, flipping to a specific page, and reading 1 or 2 lines. I was trying to demonstrate what an active reader would do, and some of the students kept up with me, but others looked completely lost. It showed in their during assessment when they were given a sentence stem to complete, almost word for word from the text, on the same page, and multiple of the students got the same detail box wrong because they're not paying enough attention to the text. So I'd have liked them to go back, maybe specifically highlight areas in the text where they can draw their details from in order to draw their own conclusions. I would take their during assessment and display it up on the board and have students complete it with me, showing them how I refer back to the text and even highlighting specific ideas. Overall, I think I did the best that I could with the time and resources that I had. I would have liked to do some things differently, but it would require more time that I just did not have at the moment. I know that inferencing and drawing conclusions is a hard concept to grasp, especially at such a young age, but I think it helps students to grow as independent, active readers, and it is a good skill to possess, especially once they begin to read chapter books that don't contain pictures. I enjoy teaching this lesson and I look forward to adapting it in my own classroom. As with any lesson that I have recently taught, I also know that classroom management is always an area that I can grow and improve in, and finding ways that work best for me and for the students to stay focused and have a productive environment and just to have a well-run classroom with well-run specific procedures and ways to encourage development through management. But overall, I enjoy teaching this lesson, and I look forward to adapting it in my own classroom and making it a positive experience for all of my students. Thank you!